No matter what you do, or how well you play, your character in Project Zomboid is eventually going to die. But there are a few things you can do to delay the inevitable as long as possible. Here are 25 of my best tips to keep you fighting one more day. Let's start off with the most important tip for anyone playing on default settings. Walking is better than running in almost every scenario. This tip isn't as useful if you're playing with sprinters, but for everyone else, this one's key. The secret is that you can always walk slightly faster than zombies. As long as you don't panic, you can make it out of most dangerous situations just by walking. The great thing is, as long as your pawn isn't too tired, they'll regenerate endurance while walking, meaning you can retreat until you've regenerated your endurance and then begin fighting again. Stand on a zombie's chest to stop them from getting up. Keep a close eye on whether a zombie has fallen on their back, or if they're crawling around. The crawlers can bite you, but the zombies on their back can only get up if they have room to do so. If you or another zombie is standing on them, then they're stuck on the ground until you move. In character creation, taking a +1 in any skill will also give 75% XP bonus to that skill. Taking +2 gives 100% bonus, and taking 3 gives 125% bonus. So when you're making your character, keep in mind what skills you're going to want to level, and choose accordingly. Taking these XP boosts will significantly speed up your skill leveling. Reaching Mechanics level 2 and Electrical level 1 allows you to hotwire cars. You can also start with this ability by starting with the Burglar profession. This makes it considerably easier to get your hands on a quality vehicle. In order to get to Electrical skill 1, collect watches until you find the first electrical book. Once you find the book, dismantle everything you've collected. Use the Walk 2 feature to safely move through trees without risking scratches. You can either right-click and use Walk 2, or you can use the Y hotkey to quickly walk to the selected square. As a bonus, you can speed up time while using this feature. If you take the Outdoorsy trait, it will also significantly reduce your chance to be scratched by trees. There's 2 ways to quickly cycle through all nearby containers. First, you can move your cursor over the container icons and use scroll wheel. Second, you can move your cursor over the loot window and hold shift while using scroll wheel. Every playthrough has a unique radio frequency that's used for the emergency broadcast. You can find this on military radios, or on the radios inside certain utility vehicles like police vehicles or the radio van, and occasionally on random radios that you find throughout the world. The emergency broadcast will give you daily weather updates, as well as giving you an early warning for when the water and power will shut off, and it will also give you a warning the morning of the helicopter. You can put a radio on your belt to easily listen to the emergency radio broadcast. It's also helpful in the early game for getting rid of boredom by listening to local radio stations. You can carry a backpack in either one of your hands to get the full encumbrance reduction, with the added benefit of being able to drop it to shed weight if you ever get in trouble. This allows you to carry significantly more without getting over-encumbered. You can set a hotkey for quickly dropping whatever's in your offhand, as well as a hotkey for dropping your backpack. This is incredibly useful if you're carrying a bag in your offhand for extra storage space and need to quickly drop it when combat starts. Sitting on the ground will increase endurance regeneration to rid yourself of exertion more quickly. If you sit on a chair, the rate of recovery will increase even more. This is quite useful to do in between battles to make sure you're completely ready for the next fight. When choosing a car, one of the most important things to look for is engine quality. This has an effect on how likely your car is to start during each tick of the ignition sequence. It can get you out of a pinch if your car stalls, or you're trying to make a quick escape from a horde of zombies. This is even more important when the weather turns cold and engines have a harder time starting. Try to get the highest quality you can possibly find. 100 is the maximum. Use search mode with the end key to forage and have a chance to find practically any item in the game. Search mode also gives access to items that you cannot find in any other way, such as ginseng and lemongrass. Before Build 42, the best place to find a military backpack was the Louisville checkpoint, but now the population there can make this quite tricky, but still possible. If you're looking for an easier option, you can also find them at the checkpoint west of Brandenburg, or occasionally you'll find them on a military zombie that can spawn at the barracks north of Rosewood. You can use V to pull up a radial menu for vehicles when you're nearby. This makes it easier to see if there's gas that can be siphoned as long as you have a container to put the gas in. You can also use this to attach a trailer or vehicle to the back of another to tow it. Turn on melee outline in the game options. This is one of the best tips for new players, as it will make it much more obvious when you can hit a zombie. It also helps when you're fighting multiple zombies at once by indicating which of the zombies you're going to hit. If you have a propane torch, you can attach metal to windows to create barricades with much higher HP than wood planks. Metal sheets will completely block the window and obscure vision, while metal rods allow you to still see through the window. Use clothing that doesn't overheat you. It isn't very obvious, but one of the quickest ways to run out of endurance is to overheat. Once your character gets too hot, you'll have to start taking off clothes or become exerted quickly. Instead, try using clothing that has a very low insulation rate. This way your character won't become overheated at all. As the temperature drops in the fall and winter, you can start adding in more and more high insulation clothing. The standard infections that are caused by dirty bandages can usually be ignored. The effects are quite minimal. It will very slightly increase heal time and cause a low amount of pain. In both cases, I usually ignore these infections without much problem. Keep in mind, as a build 42, you can never directly die from these infections. You gain strength faster if you eat more protein. Eat things like fish and meat in order to get an XP boost for your strength skill. Conversely, if you aren't getting enough protein in your diet, you'll get a penalty towards your strength XP. Try exercising for an hour each night before you go to sleep. That way you slowly accumulate fitness and or strength XP over time. Alternatively, you can exercise for an hour each morning after you wake up. If you exercise at night, you don't have to worry about exhaustion. If you exercise in the morning, the soreness won't kick in until late in the afternoon or evening. Check your shoes often for holes. If you walk on glass with holes in your shoes, you'll get glass in your feet, and this can be horribly dangerous. It slows your movement speed and makes it way harder to get away from zombies. Movement speed penalties on clothes are currently disabled until they redesign the system. Someday this tip will be out of date, but for now, ignore those movement speed penalties on clothing. You do more damage to zombies that are on the ground. Since the amount of XP you get is determined by how much damage you do, you get more experience by hitting down zombies with your weapon. You can shorten skirts, jeans, and long socks to start leveling up your tailoring skill. This only requires scissors and a crafting surface. Skirts and jeans weigh the same, but skirts can be shortened more times than jeans can. In build 42, many objects on the ground can be right-clicked and picked up, like stones, branches, and logs. Make sure you're clicking directly on the icon and not the square that they're in, otherwise you won't be able to interact with them. Large boulders that spawn throughout the world can be used as crafting surfaces. This is great if you're out and about and need a quick makeshift crafting surface. The skill Nimble increases your movement speed while aiming. This may not sound like much, but it's in fact one of the strongest skills in the game. Taking a background or a trait that gives at least +1 into Nimble will significantly improve how quickly you level the skill, and as a result will improve your combat capabilities quite a bit. Farm warehouses are a good location to quickly level carving. Disassemble crates, then use the scraps and planks to carve. You can turn a flint into a stone blade, then combine it with a small handle and a rag to create a makeshift stone knife. Then you can use this to carve dozens of items before it breaks. By doing this, you can get to level 8 or 9 carving in just a week or two. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoy these tips, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one.